Some games don't just make time pass, they make you completely forget about it. I've caught myself so many times saying just a little longer, and suddenly it's 5 a.m. Somehow, these games made me fall in love with gaming all over again. They made every second worth it. So I've picked 18 games that will make you never want to turn off your console. Seriously.
1. Metro Exodus. Man, my experience with this game was something else. Everything about it made me fall in love with it. It's not exactly an open world game, which is a style I usually love, but it feels like one. The freedom in those semi-open areas is amazing. The graphics really blew me away too. Even today, it outshines many next-gen games. The gameplay is spot on, and the weapon customization system is incredibly well done. But the real highlight, the thing that truly got me, is the storytelling. The narrative is deeply engaging. Even though it's a first-person game, which actually adds to the immersion, you never see the main character, Artyom. And even though he doesn't speak throughout the entire game, it doesn't matter at all. You can still feel the weight of his character every step of the way. Another great feature is that the game has multiple endings. The choices you make along the journey can completely change how it ends. This game was one of the best surprises I've ever had, and it didn't even get much hype. A friend recommended it to me, and it ended up being an incredible discovery. If you haven't played it yet, do it as soon as you can. I won't spoil anything else here.
2. Until Dawn. This game was honestly a huge surprise for me. I've always loved horror games, and driven by that passion, I ended up discovering Until Dawn. It was my first experience with a supermassive games title, the kind that focuses heavily on story and player choices, and man, what an experience. I truly felt like I was inside a horror movie, literally fighting for my life. Being able to control multiple characters throughout the story was such a smart idea because it lets you see everything from different perspectives. And even though it's mainly a choice-driven narrative game, it still gives you a bit of freedom to explore environments and hunt for items and secrets. When I finished it for the first time, I immediately started a new run, trying to find all the secrets and endings. There was no way I was skipping that platinum trophy. As for the gameplay, if I had to complain about something, it would be the fixed camera angles, but honestly, they barely bothered me. The game shines in its own unique way. The story might seem cliché at first, a group of friends alone in a cabin at night, but it works perfectly and keeps you hooked the whole time. What really stood out to me were the environments, beautifully designed and full of detail. I'll stop here, but seriously, you need to play Until Dawn as soon as possible.
3. Horizon Zero Dawn. Guys, this might just be the most original game on this entire list. Some might disagree, others might not, but you have to admit, once you start playing it, you realize it's something truly different. I mean, a destroyed civilization, humanity going back to tribal life, and fighting technological prehistoric beasts, that's just wild. I'm still grateful to the person who gave me this game as a birthday gift. Seriously, what a present! Aloy is such an incredible protagonist, original, brave, and fearless. I'll admit, I used to be a bit skeptical about female leads, but Aloy completely changed my mind. She's so well written. The gameplay feels smooth and natural, and the weapon system inspired by ancient civilizations is just brilliant. Every corner of the map is stunning. The vegetation, the water, the visuals, it's breathtaking. Discovering this franchise was totally worth it. I've lost count of how many times I said, just one more camp to clear, and before I knew it, it was 2 a.m. This game isn't just about completing missions. It's about exploring, experimenting, and getting lost in a world where nature and technology collide beautifully. It's the kind of adventure that reminds you why you fell in love with gaming in the first place. Number 4. Resident Evil 2 Remake. If you've never played Resident Evil 2 Remake, you're missing out on one of the best horror experiences ever made. It's not just a remake, it's a complete rebirth of a classic. From the moment you step into that dark, rain-soaked Raccoon City, the tension never lets up. And it's not about cheap jump scares, it's about that constant feeling of dread following you everywhere. Every hallway is a gamble. You turn a corner, hear something in the dark, and your brain just flips into panic mode. And when Mr. X shows up with those heavy, echoing footsteps, that's the very definition of horror. The pacing is perfect. Quiet moments blend seamlessly with pure chaos. And every time you find a bit of ammo, it feels like you've hit the jackpot. What truly makes this game brilliant is the care and attention to detail poured into recreating every piece of the original. Leon and Claire look alive. The environments are stunningly detailed. And the sound design? Wow, it completely pulls you in. It's one of those rare games that honors its roots while reinventing itself entirely. And that's what makes it so addictive. Once you start, you won't stop until you've survived every last second of terror. In my opinion, Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of the best remakes ever made.
5 Days Gone. Man, talking about Days Gone will always get me excited. To me, it's one of the best open-world games in recent years. I know it had a rough launch and a lot of people skipped it, but honestly, this game is a 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and I got completely hooked. There's something different about it. It's not really about the monsters, it's about the man behind the fight. Deacon St. John isn't your typical hero. He's a broken man, just trying to find a reason to keep going. And that hits hard. The world is cruel, lonely, and unpredictable. You can be riding your bike peacefully, and out of nowhere, a massive horde of zombies comes at you. And when I say horde, I mean it. A living wave of freakers chasing you non-stop. The first time that happened to me, I completely panicked. But then you realize it's all about true survival, maintaining your bike, rationing fuel, planning your routes. Your bike actually becomes your best friend. It's the only sound that keeps you company in a world that feels dead. And the story, man, it grows on you. It's full of pain, loss, love, and loyalty. The relationship between Deacon and Sarah, and even Boozer, carries a level of humanity that few games can achieve. Days Gone isn't a game you rush through. It's one you feel. Every cold, dangerous mile of that endless road. And when you finish it, you'll want to go back, just to ride your bike through that world one more time. 6. A Plague Tale: Innocence. Man, A Plague Tale: Innocence was a game I discovered completely on my own. No recommendations, no videos, and from the very first scene, you're not just a player. You're someone trying to protect a scared little kid in a world that's completely fallen apart. The relationship between Amicia and Hugo is the heart of it all, and it's written so honestly that I actually found myself worried about a video game kid like he was real, especially since I have 2 daughters. The atmosphere is brutal. Mud, rain, rats, and that constant feeling of being hunted. It's not cheap horror. It's the slow, heavy tension where stealth and brains are your only allies. You can't just rush in or shoot your way out. You have to think, plan, and feel the weight of every step. Visually, the game is stunning. Sunlight breaking through ruined chapels, fields of wheat turned to ash. It's so beautiful that even the quiet moments hurt. And those pure horror moments, when the rats swarm, they stick with you. You remember the sound, the panic, that tiny rush of relief when you barely make it out alive. What hit me the most was how small and human the story feels. It doesn't try to be epic just for the sake of it. It's about 2 siblings surviving, growing, and holding on to hope in the worst possible situation. By the end, you're left emotionally drained, but in the best way possible.
7. Super Mario Odyssey. Honestly, Super Mario Odyssey is pure nostalgia and pure innovation at the same time. I've always been a fan of the series, and I've played Mario my whole life.
I know, it's a Nintendo game sneaking into a PlayStation heavy list, but trust me, it deserves to be here. You jump from kingdom to kingdom, and every single one is packed with little surprises. It's like Nintendo bottled fun and turned it into bursts of creativity. Cappy, the best sidekick ever. The hat mechanic is genius. Possessing a T-Rex? Absolutely. Taking control of a frickin' signpost? Of course. It makes platformers feel new again, because every world changes the rules in a playful way. You'll try something silly, and it'll work. Perfectly. The visuals are bright and colorful without ever feeling lazy. The level design rewards curiosity. I remember spending hours just collecting moons in a single kingdom because it felt like a giant treasure hunt, and still not finding everything. But more than that, this is Mario at his purest. Inventive design, zero pretension, and that magical atmosphere that makes you feel like a kid discovering games for the first time. It keeps you hooked for hours because you never really feel like you've finished it. There's always one more moon, one more secret waiting for you.
Eight, Ghost of Tsushima. Man, Ghost of Tsushima is one of those games that makes you stop just to look at the scenery, you know? The island of Tsushima is so beautiful. It feels like a living painting. Leaves falling, the wind blowing, colors dancing across the screen. It's breathtaking. But what truly grabs you is Jin Sakai's journey. He starts out as an honorable samurai, but slowly he's forced to become something else, the ghost. And that transformation is the heart of the story. It's a constant struggle between tradition and survival, honor and necessity. The game makes you feel that weight every step of the way. The combat is one of the highlights. Every strike has rhythm. Every duel feels personal. When you face an enemy head-on in the middle of falling petals, time just stops. It's absolutely stunning. What impressed me most, though, is how deeply the game respects Japanese culture. Nothing feels fake or exaggerated. Everything feels authentic, spiritual, poetic. The guiding wind, the sound of the shamisen, the haikus, everything has meaning. In the end, Ghost of Tsushima is about freedom and sacrifice. It's about who you become when the world you knew no longer exists. And when the credits roll, you feel like you've lived a true journey, one that stays in your soul, not just your memory.
9. Resident Evil 7. Switching gears, Resident Evil 7 brought the series back to pure horror for me, after 5 and 6 completely lost the formula. The first-person perspective was a masterstroke. Suddenly, you're not just watching the horror, you're in it. The Baker House is one of the most unforgettable locations of this generation. Creepy, rotting, and constantly threatening. I remember literally covering my eyes at times just to avoid a jump scare out of nowhere. The game isn't about blowing up the world with guns. It's about surviving, managing ammo, sneaking around, and making brutal decisions under pressure. I lost count of how many times I panicked because I miscounted my bullets. That feeling of vulnerability, that's the heart of real horror. And the story, as disturbing as it is, feels personal. It's an intimate kind of horror, about a family twisted into monsters and the desperate fight to escape. It's the kind of game that makes you whisper to yourself while playing, okay, stay calm, don't be stupid. And then you do something stupid anyway because the tension fries your brain. Once you push past that initial fear and get into the groove, the game rewards you with some of the most memorable scares and moments I've ever seen. It's tight, intense, and yeah, it'll probably cost you a night or two of sleep.
10. Far Cry 5. I've got a real soft spot for Far Cry 5. There's something about that mix of chaos, freedom, and pure unpredictability that just hooks me every time. You arrive in Hope County, Montana, expecting a typical open-world shooter, but what you get instead is this wild mess of a world and a fanatical cult running the show. Honestly, Joseph Seed might be one of the best villains in the entire series. The world feels alive, like really alive. One minute you're sneaking through the woods, and the next you're in a full-blown car chase with a truck full of cultists trying to ram you off the road. It's unpredictable in the best possible way. What keeps me coming back isn't just the chaos, it's the characters. Every regional leader has their own brand of insanity, and that clash between freedom and fanaticism hits harder than most people expect. The story doesn't pull any punches either. It gets dark, really dark. And that ending, man, it sticks with you. But at its core, Far Cry 5 is just plain fun. The explosions, the hunting, the random wildlife attacks, the ridiculous physics moments that make you laugh out loud. It's everything that makes open world games addictive, wrapped up in this raw, gritty slice of Americana.
Marvel's Spider-Man. I'll be honest, I took a while to play Marvel's Spider-Man. I was never that into superhero games. But once I started, man, no other game captures movement quite like this one. It's pure freedom. Just swinging through the city feels so good, it could have been the whole game, and I'd still have played it nonstop. But it's more than just web slinging. The story? Surprisingly emotional. Peter Parker's life hits close to home. Juggling responsibilities, relationships, and still trying to do the right thing, while everything around him falls apart. It's heartfelt without ever feeling cheesy. The combat is fast, stylish, and deeply satisfying. It makes you feel like Spider-Man. Every punch, dodge, and finisher lands perfectly. And those little touches, the photo ops, the podcasts, the suits, keep you hooked long after the main story's over. What I love most, though, is the atmosphere. You're not just playing a hero, you're living in his world. People wave at you, sirens echo in the distance, and there's this rhythm that makes New York feel alive, like it's a character of its own. It's one of those rare games where simply existing in its world is fun.
God of War 2018. This game, it's something else entirely. God of War 2018 isn't just a sequel, it's a full-blown reinvention of who Kratos is. The rage-fueled Godslayer is gone, replaced by a man carrying guilt, trying to be a better father. And honestly, that change made me love him even more. I still go back and forth on which era of God of War I prefer, because the first three were legendary. But here, the bond between Kratos and Atreus is the emotional core. You can feel Kratos struggling with his words, his patience, his love, and somehow it's incredibly relatable. So when the action hits, it hits hard. The Leviathan axe, easily one of the most satisfying weapons ever made. That thunk when it flies back into your hand never stops being perfect. The Norse mythology backdrop adds so much depth. Every encounter feels meaningful. It's brutal and beautiful all at once. One moment you're tearing through a troll, and the next you're standing still, quietly admiring the view from a snowy mountain. When the credits rolled, I just sat there, silent, processing. It's rare for a game to balance raw emotion with flawless gameplay, but God of War does it effortlessly. Every penny, every hour, completely worth it.
13. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This game honestly caught me off guard. I didn't expect Jedi Fallen Order to hit as hard as it did, but wow, it did. Cal Kestis' story is all about loss, resilience, and finding hope again. And that really hits home if you've ever felt beaten down by life. The exploration feels like classic Star Wars adventure, mixed with that Souls-style challenge. You can't just button mash your way through fights. You've got to think, time your parries, and use the Force wisely. And when you finally get the hang of it, every battle feels cinematic and earned. The planets are stunning too. You'll go from lush jungles to frozen ruins, and the attention to detail in each location is incredible. There's this perfect balance between puzzles, platforming, and lightsaber combat that keeps the whole experience fresh from start to finish.
And the lightsaber customization? It's such a small touch, but it feels personal. You build your saber your way. It becomes yours. It's subtle, but it connects you deeply to Cal's journey. It's easily one of the best modern Star Wars experiences, not just because it's fun, but because it feels right. Like, this is what being a Jedi is supposed to feel like.
Yeah, I'm okay. You all right?
14. Red Dead Redemption 2. Guys, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the very definition of immersion. It's more than just a game, it's an alternate life. You don't just play as Arthur Morgan, you become Arthur Morgan. One of the most complex and deeply human characters ever written in gaming. The level of detail is absolutely insane. Every line of dialogue, every gesture, every sunset, it's all breathtaking. And the world? Oh man, the world! It's vast, alive, and completely unpredictable. You can be out hunting a deer in the middle of nowhere, and suddenly a stranger stops you asking for help, and just like that, a small story unfolds within the larger one. But what truly makes RDR2 unforgettable is how much it makes you feel. Arthur is tough, but he's human. He makes mistakes, he suffers, he loves, and his journey hits you right in the heart. It's not just a Western, it's a story about loyalty, regret, and redemption. You start thinking you're playing a GTA in the Wild West, but by the end, you're sitting there with tears in your eyes, questioning what it really means to be a good man in a bad world. It's slow, it's contemplative, and that's exactly what makes it so special. In the end, Red Dead 2 teaches you something rare, that even in the silence of a campfire, in the middle of nowhere, there's beauty. Few games can leave a mark on you like this one does.
15. Guardians of the Galaxy. This was one of those games I grabbed on PSN without expecting much, and honestly, I didn't think Guardians of the Galaxy would be that good. I figured it'd just be another Marvel cash grab. But nope, this one was something special. The writing is sharp, the humor actually lands, and those emotional moments, they sneak up on you. You play as Star-Lord, sure, but it's not just his story, it's about the whole crew. The constant banter, the arguments, the jokes, it all feels so natural, like you're really part of this dysfunctional family. And the best part? Every choice, every bit of dialogue builds that chemistry even more. The combat was a pleasant surprise too. It's flashy, fast-paced, and surprisingly strategic. You're not just shooting things, you're commanding your team, chaining combos, and watching it all unfold in the most chaotic, satisfying way possible. And man, the soundtrack? Absolute gold. Blasting 80s rock while everything explodes around you is pure perfection. It's one of those games that reminds you why you fell in love with single-player adventures in the first place. Personality, humor, and heart, all wrapped up in one of the best-written Marvel stories ever made.
16. The Last of Us Part 2. This one hits hard. The Last of Us Part 2 isn't a game you play to have fun. It's an experience. It challenges you emotionally, morally, and mentally. You're not just watching Ellie's story unfold, you're living her pain, her anger, her confusion. When you finish Part 1, you think nothing could possibly top it, but somehow Part 2 does. It's dark, brutal, and often uncomfortable, but that's exactly what makes it unforgettable. The performances are on another level. You feel every scream, every quiet moment of grief. There were times I literally had to put the controller down just to breathe. Gameplay-wise, it's sharp and intense. Every stealth kill, every desperate fight feels grounded and raw. It's not about being a hero, it's about surviving and questioning what justice really means. But what stays with me most is how I felt when it was over. I didn't agree with every choice the story made, and that's why it felt so real. It's messy, it's human, and that's what makes it a masterpiece. It's not a game you replay right away.
It's one you sit with, one you process, and that's something truly rare. 17. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Now this is how you wrap up a series. Uncharted 4 has everything I love about adventure games. It's charming, cinematic, and packed with those jaw-dropping moments that make you feel like you're actually in a movie. Nathan Drake is at his best here. Older, wiser, but still that lovable troublemaker we've known for years. His chemistry with Sully and Elena feels more real than ever. And the writing, wow, it's so natural. Every line feels like it's coming from real people, not a script. The action sequences, absolutely insane. That chase scene in Madagascar is still one of the most impressive moments in gaming history. But it's not just about explosions, it's about closure. You can feel that this is Drake's final adventure, and it hits in a surprisingly emotional way. By the end, it's not really about the treasure anymore. It's about meaning, about peace. The story wraps up beautifully, and when the credits rolled, I couldn't help but smile. It's the kind of ending that makes you sit back and say, yeah, that was perfect.
18. Death Stranding. And to wrap up this list, Death Stranding. This one's different, and honestly, that's exactly what makes it special. I'll admit, it's not a game for everyone. It divides opinions for a reason. But if it clicks with you, it really clicks. It's slow, weird, and kind of meditative in the best possible way. You play as Sam Porter Bridges, the guy delivering packages across a post-apocalyptic America, but what you're really doing is reconnecting a broken world. It's lonely, it's quiet, and yet somehow peaceful. There's something almost therapeutic about walking through those vast landscapes with nothing but the sound of your footsteps and the rain. A lot of people joked that it was a walking simulator, but it's so much deeper than that. Every delivery feels meaningful, like you're bringing hope back to people who had given up. And the way the game connects you to others, even indirectly, feels genuinely human. The story is pure Kojima. Bizarre, philosophical, emotional, all at once. But by the end, you realize it's not really about death. It's about connection, about holding on to something bigger than yourself. It's one of those games that stays with you long after you finished it. You might not fully understand it, but you feel it. And honestly, that's what makes it brilliant.
And that's it. 18 games that don't just steal your time, they steal a piece of your heart too. These are the kind of games that remind you why you love gaming. The stories, the worlds, the emotions. So, tell me, which of these has taken over your life the most? Drop it in the comments. And hey, if you're already losing sleep because of these games, you're definitely in the right place. See you in the next one, and remember, just one more hour never means just one more hour.